So today, this Scholarly Snippets we're going to be talking about REDCap, specifically an introduction to it. My name is Meghan Rito, and I work at PCOM Georgia. Thank you to everyone, both from PCOM who's joining us, as well as all of the other institutions. So this workshop it's only 30 minutes long, and it's part of a series to help you advance your research skills and support your scholarly activities. And really what I want to focus in these 30 minutes are know what REDCap is capable of and the basics of how to use it. So either your university has REDCap, such as PCOM, and you're interested in maybe getting an account and you just want to see what can it do, or maybe your institution doesn't have it and you want to see just an example of it to see whether it's worth getting. So what is REDCap? It was created in 2004 at Vanderbilt University, and it's supported by the REDCap's consortium. As of December 2021, there are over 5,636 institutions that have REDCap in 144 countries, with over 1.4 million projects and 2 million users. So there are a few advantages of REDCap. One is that there's a free version of it. It is secure, it is HIPAA compliant, there is flexible data collection, and it is continually and actively developed. REDCap is basically, it's a data capture software which allows seamless data downloads to Excel, as well as common statistical packages such as SPSS, SAS, Stata, and R. It does have a lot of features which people like, such as built-in project calendars, a scheduling module, custom reporting tools, advanced features such as branching logic, file and calculated fields. There are multiple ways to use REDCap. The three main ones that I've seen, number one, obviously, are surveys, and there's both basic and advanced longitudinal surveys. I've also seen it being used as a clinical database management for longitudinal studies, allowing, for example, if you have patients and they're coming in multiple times, allowing you to organize all your data. I've also seen it being used for quizzes with automatically graded questions. For example, at PCOM, we used to have a system where you had to watch a series of tutorials and then take a quiz in order to get access. And all these quizzes were automatically graded through the REDCap series or program, which was very useful. I mentioned the longitudinal clinical studies. I wanted to give you an example of what it would look like. You would start with a series of, at the first, they would have basic eligibility screening consent. And then every time your patient would come in, there's a series of surveys which you would just make sure that you are filling out when they come and visit. And so again, it just keeps all of your data organized together. It's very useful. So I'm going to go ahead and demo what REDCap looks like. Okay, I have a survey specifically for this REDCap, the Scholarly Snippets demo, so this is our basic REDCap survey. And when you click on a project, it takes you straight to project setup, and it gives you a set of things to complete, such as main project settings. Great. Most of what I'm going to spend my time on today is this online designer. So this is all one project, and each project can have either one instrument or one survey. If you just need a basic one-time, one-shot survey, or you can get pretty explicit with what you want. For example, the way I have this set up is that I ask people to fill out this basic bit of information, their demographics, for example, date of birth, email address, and whether or not they have type 2 diabetes, as well as a consent form. And then if they have diabetes, I have set it up so that only if they select yes, they have diabetes, will they get any of these other surveys. And it's all set up in the survey queue, which has all this programming in it, which is fairly easy to set up once you know what you're doing. So I just want to show you that capability. And then, so here's the second part of it, the patient info survey. So again, you're continuing to get more information now that they know, that you know for sure that they have diabetes. You can set it up with validation, which is really useful. For example, in this case, I have it so that I'm asking for their height. And validation basically says, and this is in centimeters, so that if I were accidentally, I clicked or I typed in 1,130 centimeters as my height, it would say, wait, that's probably too high. Are you sure you mean that? And if you did actually mean that, you can override it. But if not, it's a really good way of verifying it. Same thing with phone number. You can make sure that it has an exact phone number, so it won't accept anything. It will only accept valid phone numbers. When I say that, I mean it makes sure there's 7 digits. To show you an example of possible features, when you're creating this, there are multiple fields. You can do everything from entering text boxes to free answers with paragraphs, calculated fields, multiple types of multiple choice, which I will show you the difference of those. You can also select yes or no, but we actually recommend that you use multiple choice and then have it as yes and no instead, because if you need to change your survey halfway through, it just, otherwise you can corrupt your data. And let me actually just show you what these look like. So here's the first multiple choice, and you can have it as a drop-down menu. Or you can have, this is called radio buttons, and it allows you to select one option. If you need to select multiple options, you can actually do that with check boxes, and allows you to select as many as are applicable. You can also have it so that in the survey, if they select other, this question will pop up, and it will only pop up if they've selected other breakfast, and then they'll be able to answer it. You can also create a matrix, which is basically just asks, when you're setting it up, how satisfied are you with the following? And here are what you would like to get input on: the interaction to library staff, your experience at the library front desk, how long you waited before being helped, etc. And then your column choices, you have full input on what you want to say, although you can also copy existing choices if you've been working on this a lot and you have multiple options. As you can see here, I have this red asterisk, must provide value. That means that I have selected it so that it's a required answer. That's not something you would always want depending on your survey type, but you can require answers being kept. Here is an example of a slider, an example of a free response paragraph. You can also do things such as requiring your survey takers to upload documents. For example, if you are requiring an IRB, you can have an upload document. So that is a very quick demo of possible features. One other really nice feature of REDCap is that if you are working on something that there's been a lot of research done on it and you already know what type of survey you would like, there is a REDCap shared library. So say you are doing research on cancer, specifically on cancer patient tobacco use. You can get a pre-created survey, which you can fill out. Which we can populate, and you can use it for your own. And you can see all these bits of information on who created it, when it was last updated. You can also just view as a web page, and you can see what this survey will look like. This survey, once you click on it, is fully editable. So I'm just going to go ahead and import this into my REDCap project. And it does make you agree to the shared content agreement. But as you can see, the price is free. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. It allows me to name it something different if I would like it. I'll just keep the same name. And it has been successfully imported. And you can see here is my survey. And if I wanted to edit anything, I can edit it here. So I'm going to go back. So something else I would like to show you is how to send it out. So there are two main ways of sending out a survey. The first is to use a public survey, and this is probably the easiest way to do it. And it's anonymous unless in your survey you are asking for identification. So you can also say, for example, you are doing a class and you have an email list, or you just have an email list of, in general, of people you would like to send a survey to. You can add participants and then set compose survey invitations to send them the specific survey. And when you do it like that, every participant will get a uniquely created URL and will only be able to fill out the survey once. You can actually see here that here, and as you can see, I have, it's only been me testing this, so you have my email address here multiple times, as well as a made up email address testing at PCOM. But you can see here that I have actually scheduled an invite to myself to create this. You can see if it's been created. And then under invitation survey log, you can see what I have set up to, what surveys I've sent up to myself, and you can see who's responded. So say, for example, you are sending it out to a class that you're involved with, or you're working with a faculty member and they want to make this required. You can see who's completed it and who has not. One thing to note is that you can enable or disable a participant identifier to make this either anonymous or for example, if it's for a class and it's required for a grade, you can have it enabled for participant enabler. So that is the basics of sharing it. When it comes to finishing your projects and you want to share it, first and foremost, you can just view your report here, and you can see that I have all this information right here. But you can also export, and you can export it either in Excel or straight to one of these statistical software programs that are compatible with REDCap. The other thing you can do is that, say you have a chart with, or you're collecting it and it's easily made into a chart. REDCap does do very basic analysis and will allow you to see your results mostly from the multiple choice questions as either a bar chart or a pie chart. However, if you're doing something like height or weight, it will also create a lovely plot chart here together with some data such as minimum, maximum, mean, percentile, etc. So that is a nice feature of REDCap. I will also say that when I'm working with these REDCap surveys, I will typically click on print page, which will give me this data here. And then I'll just literally print to PDF and easily share the results with fellow people involved with the study. One thing you can also do is you can set up user rights. So say you have multiple people working on the survey. And in this case, I've given 2 people, including myself, permission to use this survey. And I can actually set up this survey though. So that say I wanted someone to only work on project design and setup. They would only have access to project design and setup. I can have it so say I only want them to have access to the first part of the survey or just the second part of the survey. You can very much play with this. So you can have someone who only is involved with the design and setup, someone who's only involved with distributing the survey, and you can have someone who's only involved with analyzing the data in the end. So that way, if you have multiple people who are working, for example, if you have a statistician and they don't need access to the design of it, they don't get access. Oops, that's not what I wanted to show you. The other thing I wanted to show you is that if you are doing a longitudinal study, it's pretty easy to create multiple weeks. For example, this is actually set up so that you get the initial data right as people are filling out the survey. And then if you remember, I asked for their email address, and then I set it up so that one week later, they would get a second survey. And then week 1, 2, 3, and 4, they will all get this patient morale questionnaire as well as the Kessler psychological distress scale. And that's pretty easy to set up what goes out when with just basically a bunch of check marks under this designate instruments for my events. So that is basically a very quick overview of REDCap. And I'm going to stop sharing just to see, does anyone have any questions or would like a demo or see what's capable of it? I'd be happy to answer any questions with the 10 minutes remaining.
Hey, Megan, Teresa Pierce. I do have a question about the surveys that you can import. So how do I know, I'm getting ready to do a survey, so how do I know if my survey has been shared with REDCap? Is there a way that I look in REDCap, or do I need to contact the distributors of the survey? I mean, can you just look it up, or I mean, how do
you can always look up a survey and to see if they have it, and if they don't, it's either first I would always make sure I have the right name for it or it's spelled differently, and if it's not in there, then it's not publicly shared with REDCap, and that's just REDCap specifically. So it might still be available for public use. It also just might not be in the REDCap library.
So if it's not in the REDCap library, can you import the survey to REDCap?
Depends.
Okay.
Sometimes, most of the time the answer is no, but it depends on the format and how it's downloaded. Okay.
And how easy is the setup? Like if I wanted to create a REDCap account, is that easy to do?
I think it's pretty easy. I will admit, so there's a learner's curve. I'm happy to work with you, Dr. Pierce, getting started, because I would say the first survey, I did not think everything was intuitive, being honest with everyone. But I've been using REDCap now for 3 years and I love it.
Okay, so I'll just get with you whenever I need to start that process. Great, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm seeing in the chat, there was a question, is this the free version of REDCap? Yes, this is the free version of REDCap. So the way REDCap works is that you can sign it's basically just sign a license with Vanderbilt, and they will give you everything, and you have to set it up yourself. If you don't have the IT support, and I will say REDCap is only available on an institutional level right now. So it's from Vanderbilt institution to your own institution. If you don't have the IT support, you can pay to have a cloud support. You can also pay to use Vanderbilt's version of REDCap. Another question, I saw in your projects you had a library tutorial. Can you use REDCap for a tutorial? Actually, yes, that is what we have at PCOM. Let me let me share my screen again. Share my screen. So this is what we have for REDCap. And we actually have the PCOM REDCap tutorial online, and this is an actual, you can see I've tested this a lot. This is a REDCap survey which we use for the REDCap online tutorial. Staff, just going to show you the next page. And then so here you have the built-in video, the transcript of the video, and then there's a basic quiz which gives you feedback directly as you're completing the survey until you complete all of the videos that we have. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. All Scholarly Snippets are recorded, and thank you everyone for attending today.